Nothing is that simple, okay? So you cannot just go and like, it looks good on paper, but it doesn't really apply to real life, okay? This is like one of those things, okay? Hey guys, first of all, before we get into the whole video, I just want to talk about like what is reverse dieting and why I'm making this video. As you know, I've just made a 6-week cut, basically. Vlogged it here on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, you can start watching from here. And I wanted to give you guys an idea of what reverse dieting is and why I haven't been doing any kind of reverse dieting myself. There are a lot of, unfortunately, like random information when it comes to like reverse dieting and the whole concept of it. To be able to understand, I mean, you just need to understand basically what the words stand for. Reverse dieting, okay? So when you're dieting, you lower your calories or you increase your energy expenditure. When you're doing reverse dieting, it's basically the other way around, all right? And you do it slowly in the same kind of fashion, okay? And the main idea with it is that so that you can increase your metabolism and you can get rid of the diet fatigue without gaining fat, so that you can actually go on and most likely continue losing more fat, okay? So this is pretty much what reverse dieting is, all right? So let's say if you are at maintenance or if you are trying to gain muscle and you increase your calories by a little, it is not called reverse dieting, all right? So some people, for some reason, they misunderstand the term and they think that reverse dieting is this magical thing where you slowly increase your metabolism to a point where you get to eat high amounts of calories, which you normally wouldn't be able to do. So it doesn't work like that. This is not what it is, all right? So do you actually need reverse dieting? Do you need to do reverse dieting? Why I'm not doing it after 6 weeks of cut? So normally reverse dieting is a very useful tool, especially in my opinion, if you are going to lose a lot of weight for a long time. After 6 weeks of like serious dieting like I've done, is it necessary? Maybe, all right? It depends on person, all right? There is no like one size fits all, just as like pretty much everything else when it comes to fitness. And you might require some kind of a reverse dieting thing, or you might be interested in doing something like this and it might be suitable for you after even a 6 week of diet. But in my opinion, 6 week is like pretty much like the absolute minimum. I mean, like if you've been dieting for like 2 weeks, you most likely don't need to even think about like reverse dieting concept, all right? Because the longer you diet, you're kind of start building this diet fatigue that I talked about in some of my previous videos too. And once you get to a certain level with diet fatigue, it is better to just stop dieting for a while, even though it is still dieting, all right? But you kind of like stop dieting. So you give yourself this time of like, I don't know, you can call it like maintenance, off time, like anything within that range. And use that time to your advantage to kind of like reset your metabolism, get that diet fatigue off of you, and then continue losing weight, all right? Or you can also, of course, the same way leverage reverse dieting to get back to your maintenance calories after a diet, okay? So what happens is that, for example, I just need to give you some examples by numbers now, okay, so that it makes a little bit more sense to you. And it will be easier to basically digest the information. Okay, so for example, I've been dieting with like, let's say 2,500 calories, right? So, and let's say my maintenance calories is 3,000, all right? For me to go on to a reverse diet, I should start off like, I don't know, at least I would say like 10% higher than what I was at previously, okay, before going on to this reverse dieting thing. So normally my previous, let's say my previous maintenance calories was 3,000. And then I started dieting, and eventually, like, let's say I stopped dieting when my calories was like 2,500 calories, right? So now I've been at like 2,500 for like a week or 2 weeks, right? And I've been losing weight with that. But I used to be 3,000 calories, all right? So what I want is that, because this calories, the 2,500 calories, means that I'm losing weight. So I need to come to like somewhere in between, right? Because I cannot go to 3,000 because 3,000 was before I was heavier. But now some weight has been gone as well. So it means that I need to be somewhere in the middle, all right? So you increase your calories by a little margin. I would say somewhere around like 10%. Go ahead for like, I wouldn't say 1 week, especially right after the dieting phase, okay? So like 1 week is gonna be, I think, a little bit too short. So at least like 10 days. So to make it easier, maybe like 2 weeks, all right? So increase your calories by like 10% for 2 weeks. See where you're at. And also during that time, you need to keep in mind is that diet fatigue is something that you just cannot get rid of right away, okay? So even if you go and like, let's say you finish your diet, and after you finish your diet, you go into a binge eating phase for like, I don't know, I think YouTube doesn't like me calling binge eating. Let's say you finished your diet and you go into an all you can eat journey for like 3 days, okay? You ate whatever you had inside, everything and anything in between, right? Your diet fatigue doesn't necessarily go away, all right? So diet fatigue stays with you for quite a bunch of days, okay? So this is one of the things that you need to keep in mind when you're doing any kind of reverse dieting or when you're getting off of any kind of diet, okay? So reverse dieting might be helpful for you if you want to, kind of like keep things under control during that time as well. Now, when it comes to reverse dieting, like I've seen like some people talk about like really strange concepts, okay? Like increasing your calories by like 50 per day. Don't even bother, okay? It's just, you cannot even properly measure like 50 calories, okay? You need to be like extremely specific, and even then, you most likely will not be able to properly count 50 calories, okay? Like, it is not that simple, all right? Nothing is that simple, okay? So you cannot just go and like, it looks good on paper, but it doesn't really apply to real life, okay? This is like one of those things, okay? So don't try to go and like do some weird thing like that, okay? It's unnecessary. It's just pointless torture to yourself, all right? There's no need. Just go and increase your calories by like, let's say, as I said, 10%. Go ahead for like a week or 2 weeks with that. Then see where you're at, okay? See what the situation looks like. And also at the same time, please keep in mind that you also will be lowering your cardio too, okay? So this is why we only increased by like 10%. And after that, you can kind of like see where you're at. If you gained a lot of weight or if you're continuously like gaining weight, you can decrease it. I don't know, maybe like another 5% depending on the situation, all right? Because it depends on how much weight you gained, but by increasing your calories for like 10%, you are not going to be able to gain like too much anyways. And also considering the fact that you've been in a dieting phase for a long time, in my case, I'm saying, at least 6 weeks, okay, 6 weeks plus, you will gain back some water weight, okay? So this is like something expected. Don't go on like think that, oh, okay, I gained weight, so like it's over, like these calories are too high. No, it's not, okay? You will definitely gain some water weight back, all right? Expect that you're gonna be having this and do not freak out when you see that it happens. Okay, so basically for you to be able to make this reverse dieting work, you need to know your exact calories or like estimate calories at least, so that you can actually like continue with increasing those calories. And also you need to be counting your calories throughout the way, okay? So of course, like there are other ways of going about like coming off of a diet, okay? It is not only reverse dieting, or it doesn't have to be called a certain name, all right? You can just go back into eating like at a healthier way, okay? This is also another way to do it. You don't need to like give yourself a lot of pressure, especially considering the fact that if you've been dieting for quite a while, right? Reverse dieting, basically mentally, it will kind of like keep you in that same place, okay? Because you're still kind of like dieting, okay? Just because you increase your calories by a little bit doesn't mean that you're not dieting, okay? So it kind of like prolongs the whole thing. So it varies from person to person. Some people like to follow this kind of a method. They like to be very organized with it, which is, as I said, completely fine. And some people, like I personally don't prefer like reverse dieting thing most of the time. So for me, I will just go back to like somewhere where I feel comfortable and then make adjustments as I go, okay? There are many ways to go about it. You don't have to sweat too much about like reverse dieting. But what you need to keep in mind is that when you are coming off of a diet, at least know your calories by the end of it, and then try to make like proper adjustments so that you don't gain back the weight that you lost during this dieting phase, okay? You don't want to lose weight for like 6 weeks and then in 2 weeks you gain back the whole thing and like you're back at like square one, all right? As long as you don't do that, it's completely fine however you go about it, all right? And as I said, when it comes to reverse dieting, just take it easy, increase your calories by like 10%, drop your cardio a little bit, and then see how it goes after that, all right? And after about like 2 weeks, if you feel like you've gained too much, drop your calories by 5%, let's say, and then continue for another 2 weeks and see where you're at, okay? So when it comes to reverse dieting, basically the most important thing that you need to keep in mind is that getting off of that diet fatigue, all right? You're trying to basically get rid of the diet fatigue, because when the diet fatigue builds up, and as I said, it doesn't just go away like right away, it takes some time. You might end up eating a lot more, and your body is also very prone to like gaining weight back. It will want to eat more, okay? Because you've been dieting, your body thinks that, okay, you're starving, or like you're kind of like not having enough calories because you're being constantly like using up your stored up resources, yeah? Your fat stores basically. So because of that very reason, when your body feels like, oh, okay, now we actually have food and we are able to eat a little bit more of it, it will try to eat more and put that fat back, okay, as soon as possible. Once you get rid of that diet fatigue, you're gonna get into normal levels in terms of your hunger, and your energy levels will be back to normal. Everything's gonna go back to normal basically, and then you're not gonna have that same feeling that you've been having right after, you know, coming off a diet. And let's say you didn't do reverse dieting and you just bumped up your calories, right? What happens? Nothing major happens really, okay? So for example, let's say in my case, okay, because, you know, I used my example earlier. So let's say from 2,500 to 3,000, let's say my maintenance was. From 2,500, let's say I even like bumped up to like 3,000, okay, let's say. So what happens is that your body doesn't go like, oh my God, like it's not too much in terms of calories anyways, all right? So even if you gain some weight after like 1 or 2 weeks, you can still see where you're at. And if you want to lose the weight back, again, you want to get back to like, let's say the same kind of leanness before that, okay? Let's say you weren't good at estimating your calories right after you come off the diet. You can still go on a mini cut, I would say, for like maybe 2 weeks. Get back to that leanness that you were, you know, after, because in 2 weeks with like additional couple hundred calories, you're not going to be able to gain too much weight anyways, all right? So after that, you can do a mini cut for like 1 or 2 weeks, get back to that leanness, and then now you have a much better idea where your maintenance should be at. Then you can bump up to that and then continue onwards, okay? So reverse dieting is not the only way, or the other way that I just talked about is not the only way. There are many different ways to go about it, but I just wanted to make this video so that, because it's been asked like quite a few times on my comment section as well. So I wanted to explain what my thoughts about reverse dieting is, why I'm not doing it right now, and all that in between. Hopefully I covered everything. If I haven't, which I kind of feel like I haven't covered everything for some reason, please feel free to comment, all right? Let me know if I missed anything, okay? I'll just, I don't know, make another video or something. So, or I will like, you know, answer in the comment section. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.